Bitcoin is in the middle of a massive bull run right now, and this time FOMO has defeated me. So today I want to dive straight into this brand new world of crypto trading and see if we can actually make some money instead of wishing that I did a year later. Now I have this crypto account that I once deposited 3,000 euros into, and I want to take this initial 3k and turn it into 5k. Or maybe 6k, but I think 5k looks better in the title. So far I deposited the 3k and I invested a little bit into Bitcoin and Solana, so that's our starting point, slightly over 3,000 euros. Now obviously I'm no professional day trader, I'm just a beginner here hoping to learn more along the way. Now is nearly doubling my money day trading with zero experience a bit delusional? Yes. Am I gonna do it anyway? Also yes, I might even turn this into a mini series. That is, of course, if I don't lose all my money in the first few trades. Excited to start the challenge the next day, I really just couldn't get to sleep. So instead of doing the healthy thing and maybe read a book for a few minutes, I decided to make my very first trade. I put 150 euros into this coin District 0x and I slept like an angel afterwards. And that turned out to be a fantastic idea, as I woke up this morning to the coin being up over 160%.
Guys!
Alright, not gonna lie, I did not expect that. I bought these at 0.092 a piece just because I couldn't sleep last night, and now they're trading at more than double that. Pretty insane that my money just doubled overnight because I bought something on a whim. But due to the combination of me being greedy and being at my 9 to 5, I didn't sell, which resulted in the coin dropping about 50% again, making those initial gains a lot less impressive. Alright, remember when I said this? I'm just a beginner here, hoping to learn more along the way. Well, first lesson, don't be greedy and take your profits. I know that I'm trading with a pretty small amount of money here, but trading is a percentages game. An 80% gain is still an 80% gain, whether you're trading with $100 or with $100,000. But with District 0x, I just bit the bullet and held my position, hoping for another relatively big spike in the near future. But missing out on the first profits of this video did kind of get me to think on what strategy I should use. We could either go full degenerate and gamble on coins like District 0x, just put a whole lot of money on it and hope that it gets pumped up in the future, or we could go with a more methodical approach. Now obviously, me being me, I decided to go with option 1, as I bought another coin during the evening of March 11th. I bought 150 euros worth of AMP at 0.00627 cents a piece. And I mean, you just can't make this up. Today we woke up to another insane 240% increase. AMP just went from 0.00627 to 0.015. And this time I actually took some profits. I withdrew my initial 150 euros plus an extra 50 euros on top of that. And then I left the remaining 100 euros that was still in this position in the coin just in case we would see another run like this in the future. Now in all seriousness, I realized I got very lucky. I picked two coins that both appreciated over 150% overnight. That's just sheer luck. And while I was kind of joking earlier about taking the degenerate gambling route, I do actually want to complete this challenge. So later that day, I saw a nice dip in AMP coin and I invested another 100 euros into it. A few minutes later, that 100 turned into 115 and I withdrew everything right after.
I am fired up right now!
Our current portfolio is now worth around 3,800 euros. That's already 800 euros up, although a good portion of that definitely came from my Bitcoin position. And right before bed, I opened up a couple more positions. I bought 150 euro positions in Cello, Avalanche, Clover Financial, ARPA, Reef and Polkadot. Right now my main plan is to hold these positions till they grow to around 200 euros in size and then withdraw the principal of 150 euros and keep playing with the profit. I'm not really expecting any of these to skyrocket like the ones we've seen so far, but I'm hoping to see some of these smaller increases overnight so we can take some of those smaller gains. But fate didn't grant us that the next morning. Instead, alright, this is actually ridiculous. Of the 6 coins we bought yesterday, 5 were relatively steady and they didn't move all that much. But one, Clover Financial, was in the middle of a massive pump right as I opened my phone. I had already rode the hype train from 150 euros to 250 euros by the time I checked. But as the pump was happening, I invested another 100 euros into it and about a minute later, I withdrew 300 euros.
Always guys, respect the pump.
Now that may not sound like a lot as I invested 250 and only withdrew 300 euros. But aside from the 50 euros that we made in profit, I also still have a 50 euro position still riding in the coin. We basically just made another 100 euros of what was essentially only a 150 euro investment. Honestly, it never gets old waking up seeing these two 200 to 300% gains. And speaking of that, remember District 0x? Yeah, it had another really nice run, once again exceeding the 200 euros. So this time I pulled out my initial investment of 150 euros and left the remaining 50 euros for a future ride to the moon. But over the next few days the seas were pretty calm. Our total portfolio moved slightly and it did reach a new all-time high at nearly 4,000 euros. So I used that opportunity to open up a couple new positions. I bought 150 euro positions in Holo, Quant, Waves, Loopring, and then I bought 100 euro positions into LivePeer, Space ID, and of course you cannot make a crypto video without buying a dog related token, so I bought dog with head. Now most of these positions were kind of wobbling throughout the day, but I did notice a pretty cool pattern. My entire portfolio of over 15 different coins pretty much exactly follows the graph of Bitcoin. I mean, just look at these graphs compared to each other. My current portfolio consists of over 17 different coins, but when you compare it to the graph of Bitcoin, it's almost an identical match. And depending on what you think Bitcoin's cap is going to be in this cycle, you can interpret this either as something negative or positive. Personally, I think with this new all-time high, a lot of people are euphoric and looking to sell. But with the influx of Bitcoin ETF money and a lot of financial institutions just adopting Bitcoin more and more, I don't think we've seen the top just yet. Anyway, I'm ending off the day with opening 2 more positions. I'm putting 150 euros each into Alchemy Base and Radium. So today is March the 16th and we once again woke up to a ridiculous pump. Last night we bought 150 euros worth of Radium and today I woke up to nearly 80% gains. So of course I immediately sold. I took out my 150 euro principal, but I decided to leave the 65 euro profit just in case the coin would pump in the future. Pretty insane to think about. If I didn't take the time this morning to set up my filming equipment and film myself making my coffee, we could have sold for nearly 15% more. This here is probably the most expensive cup of coffee I've ever made, but that turned out to be the only positive thing that happened today. After being in an upwards trend the entire night, Bitcoin took a dive during the day, dropping from nearly 70k to 66k. And of course, the other coins mostly followed. Except for this one right here. Remember AMP? Yeah, it once again shot up, this time by nearly 40%. But since this position steadily dropped during the first few days, we're currently offering just below our initial 100 euros that we left a few days ago. Other than that, today was probably the worst day so far. We're at an all-time low with this account, with some of the biggest losers being Reef, Holo and Cello, all being down 35%, which really got me thinking because most of these positions have been in the green at some point. Not a whole lot, but between 5 and 20% in the green. So I really think it's best to start taking profits more often. Yeah, these 200 to 300% gains that I've been waking up to the last couple of days are fantastic, but it's not really realistic to expect that to happen to every coin. So instead of waiting for such a pump to happen and risk losing 35% of my position, I think it's better to take those smaller gains and lock in those smaller profits and build up the portfolio that way. That being said, I did open up 2 more positions today. I bought 100 euros worth of Jupiter and then 150 euros worth of Phantom, with obviously both being down today. But ending off today, I'm not opening any new positions. I want to play somewhat conservatively. I can't believe I just said that in this video, but I've already spent over 70% of the money I reserved for this challenge. And with the way things went today, we officially reached the lowest point in this challenge so far, dipping below 3,600 euros.
Where are you going? You're lost? Dollar Tree headset?
So hopefully tomorrow brings some of that early morning magic we've had so far. But if not, I'm going to scout for some easier trades where we can get these smaller but quicker wins. Alright, so it's now the next morning and unfortunately not that great news. Throughout the night the account dropped even further, reaching an all-time low with 3,550 euros. That's the lowest point so far, and once again you can kind of see the resemblance to Bitcoin, which was also at a very low point for its cycle. Bitcoin touched like the 64k, which is by far the lowest point I've seen it in the past week. Most of my positions are also down by quite a lot, so much so that if we discount our small Bitcoin position, we're now actually running a negative here. But there are 2 coins that continue to surprise me. Avalanche and Space ID are 2 coins that always remain somewhat steady. They drop a little, then gain a little, but none of the massive gains or losses I've seen with the others. Now Avalanche is in the negative, but Space ID is up by 11%. So I'm going to take my own advice and I'm selling this entire position, locking in an 11% profit. Other than that, throughout the morning things have slightly picked up again and we're now currently hovering around 3,700 euros into the account. That said, most positions are still down by quite a lot. Everyone's favorite dog with a head is down 30%, but so are Cello, Reef and Holo. Most other positions are down between 10 and 25%, with only really Solana and Avalanche still holding up. Of course, we do also still have these 4 positions that run purely on profit. Those are District 0x and Clover Finance, which both dropped from 50 euros to 35 euros. Radium, which dropped from 65 to 55 euros, and AMP, which dropped from 100 to 85 euros. Now honestly, I'm kind of enjoying this. I've traded for about a week now, and while we started with 3k, we're now at nearly 3,700 euros. We also almost touched the 4,000 mark. But most importantly, I didn't just lose everything right away. So I'm going to continue trading throughout the coming weeks, absolutely gobbling up new information about trading, and hopefully we can improve even more.